Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of. Can we hear it from you guys? Come on, let's hear it.
PrematchMuti.
Yes,
Come on, man. Claudio, where's your energy, man? Where's your energy, man? Come on,
Come on. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. You know,
give it to
I
us.
can't give you all my energy. You're so well trained now. You finally got to the point of the intro. What am I saying? The presenter sort of energy level. So congrats to you guys for getting there. Well done. Pats on the backs. Yes, that's it, Musa.
I'm ready for a boxing fight.
Okay, good. Get those gloves ready.
Let's get ready to rumble.
You know
Apologies to all of your neighbors in and around your establishment.
They'll have to be strong. They'll have to be strong.
So there's a lot of energy, and for good reason. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Selo Lolokala in the house with Wonga Denga making their 80th appearance on Goalloungetv. 80.
Hey, well done, guys.
Yes,
That's a lot.
Time flies, yo.
It's a lot, man.
it's a lot.
Wonga, do you remember when Arsenal used to get 80 points? Like 80
That's never happened. That's never happened.
That's funny.
Impossible.
Of course, I remember. That's the worst. That's the worst part of it.
Before we kick off with the Premier League, because it's finally back this week and it's something we've been waiting for. I'm sure a lot of other people have been waiting for it too. But before we touch on that, it's time that we talk about the international madness just briefly in terms of a lot of crazy things have happened. I don't know, Selo, you want to kick it off seeing as you were on the ground there? Some might have even thought you were in Brazil at the time.
Oh, what? The whole thing with the
South American lads.
Listen, guys, first and foremost, man, the South American match is happening tonight in the AMs of Friday, right? That is basically the players that are there. How are they going to fly back and still be able to play? Cool, at least La Liga's delayed some matches for Barcelona and Sevilla. But, man, these World Cup qualifiers are madness. And I think, what happened in Brazil was quite crazy. You know, Christian Romero, Lo Celso from Tottenham, Buendia, and Emiliano Martinez from Aston Villa. They asked them, have you guys been to the UK in the last 14 days? They're like, no, we haven't been. But these guys play in the Premier League, you know? They get there, they arrive in Brazil on Friday, the match is on Sunday night, and then the authorities seemingly wait until that they get onto the field, and then they're looking at them and saying, hey man, is that Martinez? Yeah, I think that's him. That's the guy who plays in England. Oh, that's Romero, he plays for Tottenham. That's Lo Celso, yeah. Okay, then where's Buendia? Oh, no. Oh, he's on the bench. Oh, there they are. Let's stop the match. You guys were in the UK in the last 14 days. Match can't proceed. You know what I mean? Then now, Brazilian FA, right, is telling FIFA that they need to, players need to be banned for 5 days because they didn't come for international duty. But weren't they going to come to Brazil? And they weren't allowing people from the UK. So how are they going to get to Brazil if they weren't allowed from the UK? Man. It's just
I do think it was a calculated risk from the clubs, though. Because what's happened this week is they've withdrawn some players, not letting them go play international football. Now, the Federation, not just Brazil, I think it's Chile and a couple of Mexico and a couple of other international teams have all come saying, you know what, they're going to, because there's that clause that's saying if clubs don't let the players play for their side, they're entitled to, FIFA will then ban them from playing for their clubs. But it's only 5 days. Whereas if they had to go play for the national teams, the clubs would be without the player for 10 days quarantine. So it kind of makes sense, though. It was a good risk from the clubs.
It's a good trade-off, but I also feel that we need to deal with this a bit better in terms of international break. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we've got a World Cup happening next year. We need to qualify. We need to have teams qualify for this World Cup, right? And I think that the fact that we have got another another international break coming up in October in 4 weeks' time. It's rubbish. There is a proposal that's going to be put on the table where they're going to do an international break for like in blocks, not like one in September, one in October, one in November. Like not having them consecutive months, for instance. So maybe they're going to have it like for like a 3-week period, which I feel is better. Yes, cool. We won't see club football for 21 days, but at least that 21 days we get two windows into one basically. Whereas then at least the clubs can continue to play thereafter, and maybe let's say in a season we can maybe have just only 2 windows, which would be much better, and not have like 6 of them, But it's madness, man, and I think that it's crazy. But to the benefit of Bafana Bafana, Ghana didn't have six players who play in countries that said that you can't travel to South Africa. So Jordan Ayew wasn't playing in the game, and other guys who play in England and other countries that weren't allowing
the other
people
Ayew,
from South Africa.
The other Ayew was
he played. Yeah, he played because he moved from Swansea to I think to Turkey or something. But he's moved out of England, so at least that helped us South Africa. That 6 of their best players weren't playing. Man. But it's amazing.
I think moving it to 2 windows instead of having 6 windows will also improve the level of international football as a whole, right? Like
True.
These teams will be able to go into camp, and yes, it's still international. They still have a limited amount of time with the players, but will be for longer than the current time that the managers have to work with the players, which 100%. Is exciting as well for fans, right? You'll see a lot more competitive games happening in the international scene, which is quite cool as well.
Yeah, and something else we just need to talk about is that, I don't know, did any of you hear about the military coup that was happening? I think it's Guinea for Keita. In Guinea. I mean, crazy. That's one of the things,
I heard about that, but what does that have to do with Keita? What?
Yeah, where did Keita get involved?
So Guinea was supposed to play a match with Morocco, and then the coup happened the night before the game. So then what happened was, there was obviously a state of chaos and stuff like that in the city, in the capital. So it was deemed to be unsafe. So they could have got caught up in all of that stuff, type of thing. If the military wanted to, I don't know, be forceful or anything like that. But yeah, like Roman Saiz from Wolves was there, Hakimi from PSG was there, and all the Moroccans that obviously that we know were all there and stuff. Yes. But that game got postponed. So it's madness, man. But I think it was a funny thing on Twitter. Going around and saying that, guys, we just need to combine. We just need to have a tournament for CONMEBOL, which is South American football, and CAF. Just a tournament there together, guys, because those are the craziest associations in terms of things happening, like underhanded things. Like it's just all those weird things happening in those associations. We just need a tournament for those two because just the weirdest stuff happens in those associations, man.
100%. Like even in the South Africa game, right, where you're asking for VAR to be present, wasn't there?
Yeah.
It's it's kind of shocking that things like that are still happening in our associations, whereas they fall under the same governing body. But when you're looking at Euro qualifiers, there is VAR, there is those systems. When you come back to Africa, it's completely different, which is quite interesting, in my view.
And they need to you make a lot of sense the most, because if you're playing if it's a World Cup qualifier, it's a FIFA World Cup qualifier. So if whether FIFA steps in or something, but it needs to be equal. They need to be qualifying equally, and they need to be in the tournament as they will be in the tournament equally. Yeah, so I agree with that. Yeah.
It's not like for the African teams in the tournament, they're going to have a different set of rules when they get to the game. It's going to be governed governed by FIFA when they get there. It's crazy that things like that are happening.
We should have definitely had them for qualifiers, because what you find is that we have VAR in the semi-finals and the final of CAF Champions League. So that means that we've got the facilities, and CAF has used them before. So I think for the qualifiers, it's definitely something that's important. Imagine South Africa drew 0-0. That goal for Pusita was a legitimate goal, and this is serious things. It's World Cup. We don't get 3 points, and then we end up being on 2 points, and we end up second.
Silo, I had a Laws of the Game sort of lecture a few weeks ago, and the cost implication is massive. So you're not going to see it in Africa for I say at least another 5 to 6 years. Safa, maybe.
What drives the cost? Is it different cameras, different infrastructure that's required in the
different cameras, the technology itself. You also there's training that goes behind it.
For the assistants.
Like in terms of the FA, from what I understand, Victor Tlongwane, one of the main refs of the PSL, was having a chat with us, and he said the FA actually fast forwarded the process for the English refs to actually learn the process, and he said, like, actually moving too quickly with this training can see a detriment to the actual performance, and we saw that last season.
I see what you mean.
Actually understanding, and he used that as a typical example. So, in terms of the amount it's costing associations, I don't see African countries willingly wanting to spend, because you would need it. So, for example, SAFA would need to want it, say, for example, to go into our PSL and establish an agreement with the PSL. And then when we have home games for Bafana, we'd be able to use it. But then you go away to Ethiopia and they don't have it. So like, it might be a little bit counterproductive in a way, because imagine you go to Ethiopia and a VAR decision would have overturned you to win the game, but maybe when you play them at home, VAR kills you.
It
I
helps
think we quite a bit behind with that.
But I think what
I needed VAR yesterday, by the way.
So should we round up the international talk and then move over to the Varsity Cup as an introduction?
We will. Just before we go to the Varsity Cup, I think what will happen is that at these, like AFCON, for instance, that's where they'll try and have VAR, because it'll be for a tournament, for instance, right? Let's say there'll be 5 stadiums in the tournament. Let's say it'll be in DRC or whatever. Then they'll try and have VAR for the tournament. But they won't have it for the qualifiers, for instance.
Yeah,
so
because I think that home nation has to own the facility, if you want to call it that, or the technology. So these friendlies and qualifiers are a bit of a tricky one.
Okay.
But I think even some European nations, some of the smaller European nations, don't even have access to it at the moment.
What happened there?
Just lost Wonga.
And Nick became a Arsenal supporter.
Never you.
Also, shout out to Sam, who's on the line here, is joining us, and also saying, Mossa, unlike last week, now actually looks like a Chelsea supporter without Ronaldo at the back. Are you happy about that, man? Mossa, you finally representing your team the right way.
I'm representing my team. Sorry, I was just a fan last week. I was a fan of one of the GOATs of the game, and that's my bad. I'm still a fan at heart, and that's why I had Cristiano up. But now my team is back, with or without Ronaldo. Now my team is back, boy.
Listen,
champions of Europe.
Shout out to one of my assistant coaches sitting next to me.
Bring him in the frame, man. Bring him in.
Jay, they want you. They want you.
Jason has been on the show. We actually need his face on the show.
Let's see.
He's on the conversation week in, week out. We just need to see his face now. And then we got
Jason.
Why the light, though? Why the light?
You were showing us that was us. He's watching us.
I think the glare, but he was showing us that he's watching it on his phone.
But you and Jason need to talk and be on the same page and not be like the Sunderland coaches, because apparently they had a fallout.
We're talking about that today. I see that.
All 3 of them.
Listen, we're gonna give three
head
egos
coaches
like that. 3 egos like that, all the same role, all head coach. Like, come on. I mean, it's bound to happen. Like, what is
So who do you guys put? Who do you guys put for the top spot?
Mangoba, yeah.
Okay.
The one who must leave is Rulani. That one causes trouble wherever he goes. He does.
Oh wow.
But is that good trouble or bad trouble? Why is he causing trouble? Like, is it something? Do you think someone like that deserves the head coach role, Nick? From your experience and seeing what he's done from a local perspective?
I love seeing. I don't like talking badly about coaches, but I love seeing young coaches, go out there and sort of ply their trade. But I've heard quite a few stories. He is rather controversial. Maybe his methods are very European which is not a bad thing to implement here. But you got to understand, we got a completely different culture here in South Africa. So you got to try and mix it. And I can see why people don't get along with him. Maybe he wants to be his own man, but remember, he went to Pirates, probably failed, didn't work out a chipper for him. And then his father, Patrice, called him home. And listen, he's in a fortunate position, but I don't like that co-coach situation anyway. Like, imagine you have a co-coach at Liverpool. Like, who did
have it back in the day. Roy Evans, I think it was 96, 97, 98. Roy Evans and Gerard Mulier. Ended terribly. No.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think he will do well wherever he goes. But yeah, let's see.
But you know what, Nick? Let's we don't care about Sundowns. What we really care about is your coaching debut on the Varsity Cup football, ladies and gentlemen. We got a head coach here. Congratulations, Nick. You know,
you say you needed VAR, Jim.
Yeah,
I needed VAR.
Talk to us.
It was a great experience. I was super nervous going into it, as were my players.
Wait. Before you continue, Nick, how many of your players are watching? Because if they're not, they should be benched for the next game. That's all I'm saying.
They might be.
No
I left
pressure.
left in early to jump on here. So, but yeah, so like I was super nervous, but it was very, very cool. Like, they've done the stadium up incredibly, like, honestly, like top class. Alex is watching. He's one of the players. But yeah, we had a in my opinion, definitely a penalty, as Alex is suggesting. I'll share some of the vids offline. But yeah, completely taken out. But it didn't really worry me in the moment, because we had one or two decisions go against us, but we just constantly were imposing on TUT, and we really, really were a thorn in their foot, and rightfully so. We went ahead. And I just would have liked maybe a second before halftime. Unfortunately, we didn't. And yeah, we didn't. Like, this is the thing. It was quite funny. Like, people watching at home would have thought that we had gone in there and said, listen, let's defend this lead. But we actually said, let's go get the second. But I think it's just natural, especially for the younger boys, like, you've got a goal here. No Tux team has ever beaten TUT in the pool stages. So, we've got an opportunity here, and I think we just got deeper and deeper. But they didn't really cause us any problems. They were launching it into our box, and we were defending well, and there was just a lapse of concentration with 2 or 3 minutes to go. And unfortunately, they scored a bit of a sucker punch at the end to steal a draw from us. But all in all, I'm so delighted with the chances created and how well we started with such a young team. I mean, we gave 7 starting debuts and then another 2 coming off the bench. So it was incredible to see. Yeah,
that's great.
It's quite scary. The UP hasn't actually beaten TUT in the first round.
Yeah, so
doesn't matter though. Doesn't matter how many titles does Tux have versus TUT.
So TUT and Tux is always the first game, barring the second year, because TUT didn't qualify, if you guys recall, because we went to USA and they had actually cheated and they won their own USA at home, and anyway they got disqualified. So we've played them, I think, every first game except for one, and we've either drawn or lost.
I remember getting a hiding from them the first game we played.
We were actually talking about today. You were right back. I think, Claudia, you were left back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like Jason. Minus one at the back there. Minus one.
We had to fix up a lot of things after that game, and that was actually a good lesson for us at the time.
7 changes, Jay was telling me. 7 changes for game 2. So what was quite interesting, because I've always seen Bushy as the head coach. Everyone knows Bushy Malloy. If you don't know him, he's TUT stalwart there. But he's a bit of a little bit of a shit stirrer, chats a lot of crap on the side of the field. Jason is my sort of, he brings me down back to earth, but I like getting stuck into him, so I was telling him, listen, he's like, we walk into the finals. They're like on the side of the field. It was like the 20th minute. He's like, you'll watch us walk to the final. I was like, my man, we've won 3 titles. You guys have won 2. And the last one we won there, you burnt your own stadium down. And then, then he talks to me. Then he talks to me about my experience and I've never won anything on my own. And I was like, okay, my man.
Also, quick one, Nick. Yeah. Okay, I'll let you finish. I'll let you finish that.
Your skin there,
nah,
lad.
so when we scored, my gesture towards their bench was rather like, it was get in, but like, fuck you.
Nice one. Nick, I want to ask you one last topic before we move on. Is that Scapa, see he's at Wits now, and I was reading something on the Varsity Sports page saying he's not afraid of Tux. He knows what you're going to be throwing at him, and he says he's going to have your number. So I found that quite interesting.
What is quite interesting is he's focusing on Tux, and we only playing them in game 3. So like, it just shows you like Witz's big game is actually UJ, and they've never beaten UJ. So I don't know why he's worried about us. So he needs to go. Him and his head coach need to go and try and organize some
stuff, man. If
it is a bit personal.
If a person knows, then they feel like that's the rival. But they must focus on the guys down the road.
Exactly. Exactly. They got their own rivalry they have to sort out.
They've got their own derby.
We tussle with the Titans here next door with TUT. That's always a good game. No? That's the second-rate derby. That's the one they enjoy. So
Manchester derby vibes.
Listen, for me, guys, competition. That's competition for me is it's incredible to sort of be a part of. But this is not the conventional tournament. We're playing every second day, guys. What I saw today, we went to go and train, but we didn't like I'm quite sort of stuck in my ways in terms of keeping players fresh. So we were in and out in 40 minutes. It was literally the sports scientists had 20 minutes with the guys to stretch him properly, did a few tactical things, and then we were out. When we arrived, like 6 teams were training, one of them being TUT.
Oh, wow.
When we left, they were still training. And I'm just thinking, like, I don't know, like, what do these coaches think? But anyway, maybe they know better than me.
So you guys play every 2 days?
Every 2 days, yeah. So they got another game tomorrow.
Yeah, so we got a game tomorrow. We've actually got a 2-day break on the weekend because I think Supersport couldn't find slots because there's all the footballs back on this weekend, PSL and Premier League.
So we'll be back Monday.
So we're back Monday against Wits, and then we play again on Wednesday next week, and then we exit the bubble for a week, and then we go back in. So
wow, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Tell me, how's the experience of being in a bubble with your team shaped up to be? Does it feel more of like a traveling tournament more than it is like a league type of experience?
It does feel. It feels like we're in camp, which is nice because you can control a lot of things. Everyone's eating the same food. People are feeding themselves. They hydrating. Obviously, the demands of playing every second day is difficult, but that's our job to sort of make sure that it comes right. I think being here at Tux also helps because the campus is so big, so it doesn't necessarily feel like you in a bubble per se, like you're stuck in your hotel and you can only leave when you go to train. We can we allowed to walk around the campus, and like today we had the option of busing down to the fields. I was like, let's just go for a walk, like let's just get out, stretch your legs, those sorts of things make this a little bit easier. I've heard of bubbles for the PSL where guys were stuck in hotel rooms for 6 weeks. And I'm very grateful that we're not in that position. And yeah, well, there's facilities here. It is nice, lucky for us, and it works out nicely. So yeah, it's cool. That's cool.
And we see Alex is saying it's UFS tomorrow, University of Free State at 4:00. Am I right?
Yeah, they won their first game against KZN, the non-televised game. Funny enough, we actually had a little bit of a spy go and watch that game for us. We weren't allowed to, but he's a coach at Tux. He ended up becoming, funny story, he ended up becoming a ball boy. Like they were short of ball boys. So he became a ball boy, and then he chose man of the match, and then he gave myself and Jason a full report. A 7-page report. So
this thing of having the matches at your home ground is helping you guys because you just get someone who's just there.
Well, is it Charles Beloy, the journalist? Charles Beloy is already saying, I see nothing positive from that guy. There's always a double-edged sword, right? And Tux should win this tournament. There's absolutely no doubt. So Nick, I mean, also putting more pressure on you. Yeah.
No, 100%. He was actually at the canteen today. He didn't speak to me. He spoke to my manager, but apparently he was very impressed with my captain, bless him. He scored our first goal. So he wanted to write a bit of a story. Yeah, and he was man of the match. So I think he's got to sort of write stories where he can to get viewers, really. When it's controversial, you read it. So I guess it sells. So I'm not too worried about what people say. We just need to get points on the board. It's not a terrible start, but it would have been better if it was 3 points. But I think everything will start evening out after game 2, game 3. We'll see where everyone's at. I think it's quite a competitive tournament. There's no real whipping boys, which makes every game difficult. So we need to go in there. Tomorrow, different assignment. It would have been nice if we got a bit of footage, but I don't think there will be a game as physical and as emotional as TUT. So I think we've really proved that we can, go pound for pound with the best, and hopefully the rest are a little bit easier. So we'll see.
And on that note, what we're going to be doing is, because the Varsity Cup is being played this month of the bio bubble, we're going to be trying to get some of the players on the show Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're going to cover at least 15 minutes before, and we're going to continue as normal. So that's the plan moving forward. Nick, we hope to get your captain on soon, and all the other players, they better be listening and watching you and listening to all. 100%. And also, any of them supporting Newcastle yet? No.
No, it's only my brother, obviously.
They're real footballers, Trots. They're
real footballers. I've got Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea. Unfortunately, no Arsenal.
No Arsenal. Obviously, no Arsenal.
The latter focused.
They know. They want
How can they support a team that has never lifted anything in their lifetimes?
Hey, you're making the coach quiet here.
Boys are too young for Arsenal, man.
On that note, Arsenal versus Spurs, big one here. Also, Wonga Denga, if Spurs beat Arsenal, you're going to be bleaching your hair. Am I correct?
Is this weekend?
This weekend.
He's getting a shock of his life.
It's late.
Nah, I'm just kidding. It's actually Arsenal versus Norwich, gentlemen.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see the reaction.
No, those were on this Spurs on the 27th.
This weekend is the battle of the relegation battle, man. Number 19 and 20.
Yeah, so they say. Come on, it's the beginning of the season. Everyone's just chillax.
Yeah. So where you at with everything, Wonga? I mean, big pressure for Arteta. He has to get something from this game at home against Norwich. I mean, where's your head at as an Arsenal fan?
Where's my head at? As an Arsenal fan, look, Cloud, you guys saw. I tried to put the picture up of Medima. If people don't know, she's Arsenal's women's top striker. Probably the best, one of the best women players. I would say she's the best. I mean, with the numbers that she has.
Is she did you guys sign for Barcelona?
Medima, no, she's been there. I don't think we signed her for Barcelona. No, she's been there.
Hold on, Wonga. Gentlemen, look, Marcus is finally with us. It's been a long time, Marcus.
Welcome back.
But he's saying, I came back to listen to Varsity Football. No, man, James.
Marcus, support the brother, man. Support
the brother, man.
Wonga, as you were.
Yeah, no, but look, for me at this point in time, yes, Arsenal. I'm even thinking of just taking a little break. Rather, the house. It's not okay.
He's watching the
just stress
WSL
upon
now.
stress.
Anything you need to do.
You watching the WSL now, the Women's Super League.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's that's a team. I don't know what the men's team are doing. The WSL, that Arsenal team, they're doing things. But I mean, look, on a serious note, though. But I mean, Arteta, he said it himself. Look, he doesn't want to have any excuses. I mean, obviously, any manager in that thing, anything he says will probably be an excuse. And I don't know if you guys, I mean, it was last week. I think it was last week. The week before, Edu was, I think it was a Sky Sports thing. Edu came out and they started questioning him, and then he started giving reasons as to why things are like this. And one of the comments said it's exactly what I was thinking. I mean, I was like, if you're sporting director has to come out and start explaining himself, then there's definitely something is not going right at the club, you know. And he says there are things they are trying to do, and again they claim this thing that, you know, we can see what they're trying to do. I mean, we can't see what you're trying to do. We can see that the results of whatever's happening is we're at the bottom of the log. That we can see. I don't know about anything else. I mean, things like let's go to this game for this weekend. I would just, for me, he needs to start positively. We've got Ben White back, fine, let him play. Lukonga is there. For me, you're gonna have to play. What's his name? Partey is there as well. I'll play Lukonga and Partey. If he's playing Ashaka again, it's for me. It's you're trying the same thing over. Arsenal trying the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And if we beat Norwich, sharp that we beat them. But again, if I look at the way Arsenal's played, especially with the back four, I mean, even Ben White is there when you got beat 2-0. I can't, if I look at and I think you guys will agree with me, I can't see any team in the Premier League, including Burnley, because Burnley they've got their tactics to score goals. I can see any team in the Premier League put 2 goals past Arsenal. And that's a worrying thing for me at this point in time.
I'm just really proud of you, Wanga. I'm proud of you for being who you are as a human being. I believe in. We love you, bro.
Yeah, we love you, bro.
No matter what comes,
if you need help, man, if you need a hand, we're here for you, man.
We're here for you, dog. We're here for you. I know it's testing times right now, but we are here. We care about you. Okay.
I like that, boss. He cares about you. I just want to put blanket question here, gentlemen. If he loses his game, and Warren asked it, if he loses his game against Norwich, does he still have a job? Yes or no? We're going to start with Selo. What do you think?
I mean, he still has to have a job. I think, guys. Yeah, man. It seems like they believing in Arteta as the coach. So I think he still have a job.
Nick,
that's a tough one. 4 out of 4. Hey. I don't know. I think he is on a tightrope. I think with Conte available, I think they will be looking at something else. I do think I think they've got a plan B at the moment. If you lose into Norwich, guys, it's there. Yeah, it's not your Chelsea. It's not who else did they lose to? Man City. The thing is, the way they've been losing also is, I think.
Is a draw enough for him? Is a draw enough for Arteta to?
I think a draw might give him another week. I think a draw might give him another
week. He'll be safe. He'll be safe if we get another draw.
But he has to win, guys. He has to win.
Yeah,
guys. Draw is possible.
He should win. They should win. They should win. Let's be honest. If we go to the predictions, I say they win. I think they will win.
There's no more should with us now. You just have to hope they win.
It's a hope and pray situation.
Hope and pray, dog. It needs mental resolve, mental strength, character.
So then, what do you think, Mosa? What do you think?
I think he'll probably stay in the job. They've given him way too much money to play with for him to be kicked out literally 4 or 5 games into it. Yes, there's no direction from him. If they do lose, there's no real direction in terms of where they're going. But I think the entire leadership at Arsenal is to be blamed, right? I don't think it's just his fault at all. So that may be his saving grace. I don't know how much longer it can continue for, but the Arsenal situation is so dire right now. Whether they were to win even against Norwich, they'd still need to make a couple of changes in that team to actually be able to compete going forward. So
yeah, but Mosa, for me, it's not the whether or not the win is what he should be achieving, what the club should be achieving. It's the question if he loses, how much more can the Arsenal fan take? And Aman's saying, does he still have a job if he loses this game hypothetically? It seems like we've asked this question 16, 17 times before. He'll never be sacked. Wanga, what do you want to see if they don't get the result?
Look, something needs to
long
change.
pause there.
If we're losing to Brentford, and then we're losing to Norwich, 2 guys who have come back, been promoted, and we couldn't. Man City ravaged us, and And I think the thing with Arsenal as well, if now Norwich beat us, people are going to start saying, hey, we collect points here.
And you
We're
haven't
going to turn it into another derby.
People are already
and you haven't
saying
scored a goal. And you haven't scored a goal.
Hey,
You haven't scored a goal.
Hey Marcus, I'm supporting the women's team, bro. Like changing
Get
it,
with
bro.
the program,
I'm just
bro.
observing what these men are doing now.
Get to the program, bro.
Can't be involved in that nonsense. Can't be involved in this
the
nonsense.
first Arsenal team is the female
But
side. That's what it is.
I'll tell you what, Claudio. What I don't like at Arsenal at the current moment is they're not being like sort of, let's say, I mean, really honest with the fans in terms of what's happening. There's definitely the backdoor business that's happening there that's obviously something that's killing them. And obviously the results can show. And I mean, one thing they can prove that, I mean, simple thing is we can always go back. I mean, Arteta saying he's playing people based on merit and what, but I mean, a simple thing for me was that decision to leave out. You remember the time they left out Mesut Ozil from the squad, and the players that we had. I mean, you had Chris Chambers who started ahead of Mesut Ozil. In fact, he made the team ahead of Mesut Ozil. You know, Chambers is still being played in.
You might have no team to support there.
You might have no team to support.
You might be ducking and diving the land, but he'll come for you.
So and the thing is, sorry to call it a bit long, but like the thing is with Arsenal, you see, you got players like Pablo Mari, and then Chambers is one. Those were guys who were supposed to be our backups, you know. If I look at the other squads and their backups, they do the job. If you put Chambers and Pablo Mari in a squad, teams are smiling, but especially a team like Norwich, who can score goals. If we don't lose, something needs to change. I can tell you that. Something needs to change.
Well, I was actually asking if you had to make a decision. I was trying to get a decision out of you, but it's fine. As long as you're happy, something has to change.
There won't be a decision from Arsenal, dude. That's the thing. There's just a lack of decisiveness in that entire club at this point in time. And that's why I think even if Arteta loses, he'll still probably have the benefit of another game or two.
Okay, well, let's talk about his former employers. Man City versus Leicester. Brendan Rodgers hosting Pep Guardiola. Nick, you've been quiet for a bit. What do you think about what's going to happen in this game? I mean, Leicester, not a bad side. Can they get a result against Man City?
I think, you know, I wouldn't say that they don't have a chance. You know, I think Man City obviously in hot form at the moment, but I think this might be a good opportunity to play Man City, especially with a lot of their internationals going away for, you know, sort of their matches with their national teams. You know, they might, you know, you can't really say that a Man City team will be rusty, but I'm sure Pep wouldn't have liked the break, you know, the form that they were on. You know, they would just be a steamroller just going through if they continued. So maybe this sort of break might hamper their preparations for a match against a team that is, you know, proven over the last couple of years that they really are. They're a tough team to play against. So I don't see, you know, it being easy for Leicester, but I do think it will be a little bit closer than what Man City's played against in the last couple of weeks. You know, it's not going to be it's going to be a different challenge compared to the one they got against Wanga's Arsenal. So yeah.
So I guess the question is then is if this FIFA ruling is imposed, because I see Liverpool are trying to fight it as well. So because obviously then Man City will be without what's this guy, goalkeeper Edison and Gabriel Jesus. Those are the two players that will be out. Will that, you know, the goalkeeper being out, do you think that'll affect them because they'll have to get the American guy Stefan to come in?
Listen, 100%. I definitely think so. That's why I'm saying, like, if you look at the teams with the most internationals, they're only going to get their players, some of them only tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. They probably get them today. But some of the South American guys, you know, it's up in the air whether or not they've even returned. You know, would they be able to just go straight in? I don't know what the regulations are in terms of quarantine, if there is a quarantine for them. I don't think or is there? I'm not too sure for the Brazilian players.
Red list. So the Brazilian guys didn't go, so they'll be banned because for 5 days, that 5-day rule. So
So they'll
Edison didn't go.
But now
Edison didn't go.
Edison and Jesus didn't go. So they'll FIFA wants to ban them for 5 days.
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood that. So all the Brazilian players didn't go at all. Okay, but
except Sam is asking about Richarlison. Richarlison isn't banned because Everton and the Brazilian FA have a good relationship because they allowed him to go to the Olympics.
Yes, they said that.
So there was a deal amongst the two.
I mean, if the FIFA ruling does come through, what I read was that the Brazilian FA have asked FIFA and the FA to ban these players, but I doubt
I'm okay with that.
Happen, to be honest with you, I doubt it's going to happen. You look at simple example, Man City. And that's
a win. That's a win in Wanga's eyes for he hasn't been seeing many 3 points. If other teams lose their players, that's
10 points for me, bro. That gap's just gonna be huge.
The Wanga mathematics has begun, boy.
Listen,
other teams must drop points.
But to be honest, Celo, I don't think it's going to happen. Man City's owners, I wouldn't be surprised if they're in bed with FIFA anyway. I'm sure there's donations handed out there left, right and center all the time. Oil money sort of runs world football at the moment, wherever it's coming from. I think Man City might be potentially at full strength, but I do think, not having all their best players for these last 2 weeks might be something where Leicester could maybe exploit. Although Leicester have their fair share as well. But I think it will be a nice game to watch. I think you might see a little bit more of a pragmatic Brendan Rodgers sitting in a little bit, trying to contain them. But I do think Man City will probably get the win in the end. But I think it might be quite a close game.
So I'm guessing you guys will be watching the games in the bubble because it's on Saturday.
Correct. I agree with Jason.
Okay, but it's the same time. It's the same time as
Jason's saying not having Fred helps Man United Celo.
It actually helps. At least Ole can't cost you guys.
It doesn't help much because you think you'll pick Donny, but you won't pick him.
That's incredible.
And did you? It's a good option to not have Fred in the field.
Hey man,
that's it.
We're all hoping that this is obviously a way for Donny to get into the starting lineup, and obviously for Fred to bench a bit, because you'll also have to bench the Champions League game next week. So it would be great if Donny played both games. But knowing Ole, man, he's probably gonna play Darren Fletcher.
You think
Silo?
Ole out, boy.
Silo. But you saw there's that thing I posted in the Discord group the other week in terms of what Donny van der Beek said. I mean, if that's true, then what do you think? I mean, since it's not clear, what do you think the plan was?
It's not even not clear. It's not even not clear. He was on. You guys can go look at this on YouTube. He was hosted by Rio Ferdinand on his YouTube channel. Yeah, so go listen to what the guy says. That even he's been drinking whatever Ole has been giving. So credit to Ole for that, from a man management perspective, to keep the player around, to make him believe that he's still got a future at the club. Personally speaking, I would have been out there a long time ago.
But his agent said something totally different. His agent has been speaking out a lot. It's been a huge debate among Man United fans to say, hey, listen, guys, what do you guys feel about the agent speaking up? Some are saying, he's the same as Mino Raiola, whatever. But actually, if you think about it, it's not the same thing. This guy is honestly saying, guys, listen, we came to the Premier League to play in the Premier League, not to play in the Carabao Cup, not to play in the FA Cup. We're here to play in the Premier League because we want to test ourselves and be the best possible and go and level up as a player. And Everton put in a deadline day bid for him to go on loan there, and Man United refused. Ole said that he's still a part of his plans and he still wants him in the side and so on and so forth. So, at the end of the day, let's see what happens, because Everton did want to take him on loan to get some minutes. He even lost his place in the national team, in the Dutch national team. They didn't pick him for these games, and that's the thing, is that this guy used to be not a starter for Netherlands, but he used to be the first sub in the midfield, and the Netherlands national team. But now it's tough for him. But I really feel bad for him, and he has to start against Newcastle. Yeah, man. He has to.
Well, is there enough space for him if Cristiano's in the building now?
Yeah, there's less space because you've seen that Pogba can play further forward. Pogba can play further forward, which and then with Cristiano coming, Pogba can go back into the midfield. You know, and then that kills Donny's spaces. You know, McTominay obviously had a brain surgery, so he's just started training yesterday or day before yesterday. But yeah, so Donny, it's either Donny, Matic, or Pogba. The three of them, like, you know.
What about
Matic, Pogba, Bruno, and then Greenwood, Sancho, Cristiano?
Yeah,
that'd be scary.
But he's got too many options, man. I just want Donny to start tomorrow. I don't care who benches, guys. Anyone and everyone can bench for Donny tomorrow. Even Ronaldo himself can bench.
Yeah, but that's a funny thing. No one even mentions Ronaldo. Is Ronaldo making his debut against Newcastle?
But if he plays tomorrow, that's not a problem because then he'll miss the game completely on Saturday.
Who's that?
Donny. Celo's saying he wants him to play tomorrow, but they're playing on Saturday.
Saturday, yes. Come on, Nick. Listen to you, man.
No, but Nick's right. Because
the boy at least get 90 minutes under his belt.
Saturday, yes.
I was like, what, he wants to play B team. He wants to play B team or something.
Today feels like a Friday anyway. But
Ronaldo, for me, Ronaldo has to start. But against the Newcastle team, I'm like, there's
nothing better.
Opportunity. There's the best opportunity.
Hat-trick,
the best of the best.
Everything. I can also see him not starting. I can see him getting 30 minutes, and I can see they do it on purpose. So they bring him on. So when he comes on, they literally lift the roof off the stadium. I could see that happening potentially.
Yeah, that's
because you guys have been gelling with whoever you had already playing. I do see Sancho is likely to miss out because he's injured. That's what I read.
But he trained yesterday, though. He trained yesterday. But so we'll see. Man, listen, at the end of the day, Man United's got a lot of options right now. Rashford started training. Martial had two good games for France in qualifiers. He scored 1 goal and played well against Finland. So we've got a lot of options. Greenwood is fresh. So yeah,
I kind of feel like he's rubbing it in your face then, Nick. How many options do you have?
I love this, guys. No, it's unlikely that he'll play. There's quite a few injury problems there at the moment. So yeah, if we don't have him, we go with Goalloungtv or Dwight Gale. But yeah, listen, I actually love these matches, especially when there's so much hype because there's like Ronaldo's going to be in the house. But this is like got egg on your face written all over it. Like this could really blow up in your face if you guys don't actually get the results. So
it's got Ole out
written on it. We have Newcastle have absolutely nothing to lose. And Newcastle have nothing, and Man United have everything to lose. Like, imagine the return of the prodigal son, and they lose their first game against Steve Bruce. His first game against Steve Bruce's Newcastle United. It would be great to see.
Look, Nick. That being said, who's not putting Ronaldo in their fantasy team and captaining him against Newcastle? Who's not doing that?
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably be silly not to. Yeah.
He's expensive. He's throwing off my squad, man. He's expensive, man. Claudio, you don't.
But maybe this is why I'm not in the top half of the log.
Do you know, Claudio? This is the thing, man. Fantasy football, he gives us 100 million. How do you give us 100 million? We support teams that go and spend and buy a player for 100 million. So now you're telling us I must now ration my money, and then now you tell me I can't have Bruno, Salah, Lukaku, Ronaldo, De Bruyne in one team. That's what you're telling me.
No, but what team are you also trying to form with those players?
I'm trying to have Goalloungtv, and I'm trying to have Goalloungtv in my team as well.
Wonga. Jason saying Martial doesn't count as an option for Man United. Do you believe that's true?
Yeah, Martial. No, man. I think he does count. I think the guys. He's a good player. I just think, it's unfortunate he can't play every match. I mean, he's got a lot of competition around there. But yeah, I think he's a good player, and I definitely, he does count as an option. Look, you ask me Pepe or Martial, I'll take Martial any day.
Of course, you'd have to.
Yeah, okay. So sorry. Like, I think the question. I think I asked the wrong person the question because he's comparing his score to Martial.
No, it's just, but that's what you're asking. That's basically what you're asking. If you're asking as an option, you're basically asking me, would I use him? Yes, I would use him over what I have. So that's how much I'm telling you what option is to me. I'm just letting you know.
Fair enough.
Joelinton as well. You'd use him as well. Anybody cheap.
Right, Musa. Chelsea versus Aston Villa. Let's hear it. I mean, you must be excited, yeah. This is a big opportunity for you guys, but also Aston Villa recruited. We know they recruited well. Do you think this is an easy victory for Chelsea, or do you think they're going to make hard work out of this?
I think it's gonna show like how well the character has developed in the squad and how players like Lukaku could be coming to the fray to actually show their value. Yes, the game against Liverpool, Chelsea did very, very well in terms of showing their character, in terms of showing their resolve and their discipline. I think there's an opportunity to show that more in this game against Aston Villa. Show the pedigree and the quality as we approach this game, which is exciting, right? As a manager of a team which is full of international stars, like the likes of Chelsea, you kind of are amped up for a game against Aston Villa because you feel like you have a very good opportunity to display your talents and display and execute on the talents that you have in the camp. So I think it's very, very exciting for us, and I'd like to see Lukaku score 1 or 2 and produce some magic in the game, but I also would like to see a lot more contribution from several other Chelsea players, because man for man we've got enough quality to look at this Aston Villa team and say, look, we should be able to run away with the points on the day.
Do you also
It'll still be difficult.
The Champions League teams are going to have an eye on midweek?
Yeah, but that's why, like, even the signings that we've made, they bolster our kind of midfield. Yes, Thiago Silva might be in this mix of the Brazilian players that we may lose, but we still have depth, right? We still have a lot of depth, which will allow us to compete very, very well in the Champions League and in the Premier League. And I think that's, if you're looking at any challenge, that's the biggest challenge for our manager at this point in time. How does he bring the Champions League performances and consistency into the Premier League? Because sometimes there are those games. It's Aston Villa. Yes, it's a worthy opponent, but it's not as exciting as playing some of the Champions League teams that you'll face along the way, which is something to manage with a lot of those players coming from Europe, and playing in Europe's European football.
I mean, Jason's asking a good question here. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Wonga.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was leading on to that. I think I agree with what Jason's saying there in terms of, I mean, the big teams, they do tend to struggle, and I think after the international break, I mean, for reasons that Nick did mention earlier, but also, Villa also, finding their feet. They've signed some good players, good signings they've had, but I think they're also still trying to find I agree with Jason there in terms of that. But Chelsea just have too much.
Sorry. Why are Man United fans like this, man?
Chelsea just have too much.
Europa League, but they're telling us Champions League as small boys. Why is it like this?
They're finding their voices with the prodigal son returning. That's what's happening there, right?
That's what's happening.
Just yes, go ahead, Wonga.
Yeah, I'm just saying that even though Villa are trying to find their feet, they've got that international break and the Champions League coming up. It's not. We know this. People coming to Champions League, you've got to start on a good start, So it's going to be a thing. I think it won't be as easy for Chelsea, but people will expect them to clean Villa out.
Wonga, who do Arsenal have this week in Europe?
Europe.
Don't do this to him, man. Don't do this to him, Nick. We love this guy. There's no need for you to do this to him.
No, I was talking about
Nick's just doing it because
he's
finally got someone on the show whose team's lower on the log than his own. That's why he's really rubbing the salt in there, boy.
The Women's Champions League. Come on, I'm sure you
Women's
guys
Hey, Robert, you tough, man. You midweek, you're watching Women's Champions League, man.
I am going to. I won't even lie to you guys. I'll watch it.
What's my roommate saying here?
I like what Jason says. Yeah, big
It's
teams.
true. It's true.
Big teams start prep on Friday morning. Small teams like Newcastle have been preparing since Monday.
But,
I mean, I don't think
and
there's
that's
anything
very
wrong
true, right?
Oh, that's true. But and that's why international break hurts the big teams. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The guys are going to be traveling in from all parts of the world, all continents, and coming into a training camp. And then the manager has to assess how fit they are, how well they've traveled, how well they performed, and kind of figure out who to use in terms of their form and performance in training. Whereas in a small team like Newcastle, like Arsenal, and Man United,
easy.
Yeah, easy there, boy.
you can kind of gauge it as time goes.
I heard you say Man United. I don't understand about it.
Just adding it in there, boy. Adding you inside there.
We had three players playing for the World Cup champions 2 days ago. They started for France, so I don't know, man. You know.
And Martial did very, very well.
So Chelsea, Man United are fortunate. They have home games, so at least they don't have to travel again. I think Man City have to go to Leicester, so they'll have to go probably check into a hotel, and like that all takes it out on the players, to be very honest with you. Like that traveling, like Man City will probably go on a bus to Leicester, then they have to camp, they're away from their families again. That mental aspect for the players is not nice, having to like go across the continent and then come back and then cheers.
Not come back and then bye.
Say goodbye. So
yeah.
I mean, I actually watched an interview of Pepe Reina when he was, I think he had left Liverpool, but he had actually said he's like, it's nice and glamorous, like staying in hotels and traveling and all that, but it's like it gets to a point where it's not nice because you're constantly away from your family and you just want downtime with your loved ones, which is I guess they're professional, they have to deal with it, I guess.
Yeah, it's the perks of being professionals they are.
Yeah, just wrap that one up. Professionals, they must suck it up. I like that, Nick. Just do it. Like you in the bio bubble. You even need a room, unfortunately, with Jason. You're not getting your own room there.
And I had my own room.
Did you?
I took one for the team. No, my physio needed more space, so I gave up the queen size bed for a single mattress here. That's all for the team. It's not about
all
me.
for the team.
That's what coach.
The boys must know.
Coach.
They're getting massages on your bed. Massages on your bed.
Your queen size, coach. Your queen size, coach.
If they don't give you 3 points, then I don't know. If they don't get you 3 points after that.
All right, gentlemen. Side note, quickly, yes. Claudio, we've got good memories. Most of you are there of Free State. Do you remember that 4-0 win when we stayed up until like 5 a.m. there at that bar?
Oh,
very, very good memories. I think it was our last group game.
Yeah, and then we got on a bus, and then the guys like me who never played had to go and play TUT in the qualifier for USA. And we ended up winning 2-0 with hangovers. It was top class.
Well, professionals, best of the best.
Yeah. Balance. The biggest hammering I've ever gotten off the field were those sort of that tournament and then the partying afterwards. That's the hammering I got. That Free State game. Cheapest. I still remember the coaches telling me on the side, Scupper, and them telling me how shit I was. Not in the game, but telling me, after that first game that you mentioned, the 4-1 playing left back, how shit I was, and him trying to be candid with me and build a relationship with me. But he has the coach telling me, I was shit. And I was like, okay, thanks, bro.
Some of the younger players had never had shots that night. One or two of them tried, and they didn't know what to order, so we actually ordered them straw rum. They've been scarred for life. Jared van der Berg there was...
No, Jared, I'll tell you a story about Jared van der Berg before we continue. So after we won the USA in Cape Town, do you remember Rob Malman? He used to play for Tuks, and then he went to Wits.
Yes.
So we're going down Long Street. This is after we've won. And Rob, like, we see him in this one bar. And Rob's like, bro, we really, I've got a drink for you. I've really got a drink. And we're talking. He's like, I was here the night before. And I had this thing. And it was the worst thing I've ever had. And he's going on about this thing. Next thing, Jared like taps us on the shoulder. He's like, look, guys, I got these 2 drinks, these shots. We're like, oh, what is it? He's like, oh, chili tequila. Yo, it's chili tequila. Yeah. We take the shot. You take the shot of chili tequila. Jared takes it. Next thing, he runs straight to the bathroom, throws up, and Rob and I were killing ourselves laughing. We're like, this.
Man.
Anyway, so random story.
All right, Stella there. Stella, sorry.
Yeah, man. Guys, I'm like, what's happening? You know what I mean? There's too much tequila, but I'll never tequila in my hand. Where's the tequila? Come on.
No tequila. But I will say this.
I guess that's a different dynamic that your players have to face, right? We used to have a week or so of recovery after these games, whereas your players don't have that luxury. They've got 2 days.
Listen, if we've got 10 points from the first bubble, we're going straight to somewhere. I'm taking them
somewhere. And it should be level 2, coach.
Yeah. The boys are going somewhere.
Going somewhere.
And the Goallounge crew will be there.
But they're going somewhere. We're going somewhere. Shout out to that.
Some chili. You know what we'll do? We'll get the tequila, we'll chop up some chili, and we'll serve it to those guys, see how they do. If they can handle the fire off the field, they can handle it on it. Right, gentlemen, Leeds versus Liverpool. It's time to talk about this just briefly because we don't have much time. We need to go into predictions. Leeds versus Liverpool. Like you guys have touched on the fact of the traveling, Liverpool possibly not having their Brazilians on board, Leeds not having won a game this season. Talk about egg on their faces, Nick. Is this a possible egg on the face moment for Klopp and the Reds?
I think for me, I think Liverpool should get through this, especially because Leeds' form is not being too great. And I think, like I've said in the past, that second year dip tends to happen for the teams that get promoted. I don't know if that's necessarily happening for Leeds, but I think teams have found out how to break down Leeds and how to sort of attack their weaknesses. So, Liverpool have had a very conventional start, very professional. They've got the points where they needed to. They look in a solid unit. I do question the depth. I do, and I think we've spoken about it in the past. But I think Klopp knows how to win these sorts of games, and I think he's gonna want to get on a run, and he wants to be by the first third of the season. He wants to be there and thereabouts, and if Liverpool are there and thereabouts, they've got a chance. And they proved it last year. We wrote them off to get into the Champions League. They did it. They did it comfortably. And I think that sort of form has filtered into this season. And they're still a very, very hard team to play against. And I think a team like Leeds, they've had quite a tough start. If you look at it, playing Man United and Liverpool in the first 4 games is not easy. Bielsa will come with his sort of tactics of pressing, but I think Klopp can expose that. And it's been, if Ole can expose it, Klopp can definitely expose it.
Anything Ole can do, the boy can do better.
I just want to answer Sam's question here, saying if I have Jota in my fantasy team and if I don't, am I bringing him in? So I do not have him. I do not have him.
I have him, Sam. I had foresight ahead of Claudio. I had foresight.
Oh, look at that. So quick to jump on that. I think Jota's value for money is 7.6. I think it's worth. Right. If you do not have him, you put him in there. And also the question I want to ask you lot here is the front 3 for Liverpool. Look, the midfield 3, depending on whether or not the Brazilians are going to play, because I see Sam also saying no Rafinha. If no Rafinha, then it's also no Alisson, no Fabinho, no the other, no Firmino. The question I got from the midfield 3, we've seen he's chopped and changed a little bit. Henderson hasn't been fit. We know Thiago hasn't really been in the fold. What in your mind is Liverpool's strongest 3 in the midfield, and then Liverpool's strongest 3 up front as well? Is it Firmino up there or Jota up there, and then the strongest midfield? I want to get that quick.
Jota up there.
Yeah, in current form, I'd say Jota up there as well.
Yeah, midfield for me. If Fabinho is always available, I would say Fabinho, Henderson, and Keita.
I would throw the Lighty in there. I would go for
Elliott.
Henderson and Elliott. Yeah.
In the midfield or the supporting the front three, or in the front three.
I would play him. I would play him behind the front three, but just behind. So you almost have like a front four. You know, you've got stability in Fabinho and Henderson there. I don't know. Where was Harvey Elliott playing? He was playing on the sides.
He was playing on the side, on the right-hand side. But I mean, if you're playing Jota up front, then I agree with you. Then playing behind, then play Elliott behind him, because then he can roam.
If you look at it, like I like interchangeable front fours. So Liverpool have the perfect personnel for that. So if you play in Harvey Elliott and you have a front three that can interchange, yes, you might have one that goes down the middle, but the three can always be moving. And I think Liverpool can play in that way, which they've done in the past. You know, Mane will cover Salah will cover Mane, Firmino would drop in. They go a little bit more narrow. So they're very dynamic in that sense. But I think the Lighty should get a chance. I think he's done all right.
He's been given a chance. He's been given great chances,
Yeah. I think but I'm saying I think he should be it should continue. The chances should continue.
Well, he's come out. Klopp has come out saying he's fit. He has said he's fit. He says Van Dijk's fit. He says Kate is fit. So that might be on the cards this weekend. That's all. I mean, it's definitely possible. He likes, obviously, if he gives a young player a chance and he plays them, he tends to stick with them, which is quite interesting because then he has the faith. I find this interesting here. Aljan, welcome back. He says Henderson, Firmino, Fabinho in the midfield.
So Firmino as a 10, because that's what you guys did sometimes last season, right?
Yeah, but just no one's mentioned Thiago.
Yeah, exactly. What about it?
Guys, but that's the thing, Claudio. What about Claudio, we said last season, you told us, you taught us last season that the most important player for Liverpool in the midfield is Fabinho. That's what you told us last season. Right?
Yes, yeah.
And we saw it. Then you need Henderson because he's the driving force, the captain. You know, leadership, everything. So where does Thiago come in? Because he should be coming in those two positions. Because the other position needs to be someone different.
It makes me so sad because he's such a talent.
He is very good.
He could actually be put on the bench, for example. But can I ask you this question, Claudio? Does he work hard enough off the ball? Do you think that might be an issue?
I think he's atrocious when it comes to the pressing. And like we all know from Klopp's sort of tactical approach, the team needs to work as a unit, and he gets sucked into the wrong places. Yeah, he gets sucked into the wrong places when he's pressing. He can't make tackles. He gives away fouls in crucial areas. He gets desperate. He's also it's interesting because he's a quality player and he's played in one sort of style his whole career. Liverpool brought him in obviously for something different, thinking, he's an intelligent player, maybe he can adapt. And last season, to be fair to him, it was a disjointed Liverpool, so he didn't really hit the ground running. And maybe his second season around he'll do better. But the other thing is the other players have an advantage playing this way. And so it's interesting for me. We lost a player like Van Hulden on a free contract. He just leaves the club. We spent the £30 million on a Thiago, who is 1 year older, I think it is, than Van Hulden. And they don't renew Van Hulden whereas I would have kept the Van Hulden and not even signed Thiago. But at the same time, Liverpool fans were crying out for a signing, and they did what they did. So it's interesting. Whereas,
you looked at it last season as like a signing of the season at the beginning of it, right?
You did. I know you did. I know you spoke about it.
I was excited about it, guys. I was excited, but I agree with what Arjun says there, guys.
Yeah, feels like Donny fits the Liverpool system and Thiago would fit in a United system. That's also true. Weird but true.
Very weird but true.
It's true.
All right, gentlemen, it is time for the betting corner of the predictions. We're going to quick fire, like Nick says. He likes saying the term quick fire. We're not going to go in depth and analyze the game. Game's going to show.
No stories, Wanga, about when Thierry Henry played against Norwich in 2007. Please, Wanga.
With Vieira, guys.
Vieira did this against Norwich.
Tony Adams there.
Don't tell us about that.
17 minutes. Tough times, boy.
But see, the stories are good. The guys are doing now.
Now you must deal with your tough times now.
And on that note, Wanga, we're gonna kick off with you. We're gonna move to Mosa, Nick, and then Selo, and then we're gonna end off with me. We're gonna hear the predictions. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go. Quick fire. Pa, 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 pa.
Yeah, I see 2-2 draw.
Yo, you guys scored. Nah, shout out. I see you guys scoring as well. 1-1 draw.
I'm going to go for a 2-1 Arsenal win.
Yeah, 2-0 Arsenal.
Yeah, 2-1 Norwich. That's what I'm going with.
Break the men's heart, boy.
Monga.
This one, yeah, the way I see it, I think Leicester will hit one there. I think a 1-0 win to Leicester.
Not a chance. I see a 3-1 win to Man City.
I'm going to go one better, 3-0 for City.
Yo.
I think it's going to be a close game, but I think towards the end, City are going to run away with it.
2-0 to City.
Yeah, 2-1 City. 2-1 City. I think it's going to be 1-1, and then right at the end, City are going to clinch it. Right, Wonga, Man United, Newcastle.
Ole out!
I say 3-0 to Man United.
I also say 3-0 to United.
No, bro. I think Jolinton, I think we're going to shift. We're going to have 10% possession, and Goalloungtv is going to score in the 86th minute as TUT scored against us. So, yeah, we're going to win 1-0.
4-0 Man United.
4-0 Man United.
Does Ronaldo score in those four?
He does.
Of course.
Ronaldo scores 2 of them. Ronaldo scores 2, Greenwood scores 1, and Bruno scores 1.
Yeah, that's good.
5. Tony says 5.
5 of the best. Ronaldo's going to be there, boy. Nice. It's a hang time. We're going to see hang time. You're going to see. Bruno is going to be whipping in crosses, Pogba crosses, and Ronaldo is going to be hanging back post. That's what's going to happen all day long.
Underestimating Goalloungtv, guys. Come on, man.
Right. Man. Chelsea versus Aston Villa.
3-0 to Chelsea.
Dope. 2-0 to Chelsea.
2-1 Chelsea. I think it's going to be a tricky game, but I think they will get the win.
3-1 Chelsea.
Yeah, 2-0 Chelsea. I think it's unanimous there. Right, gents. Leeds versus Liverpool.
I see another
yes, I don't know. This guy's not available. I said 2-2 draw.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's payback. He's giving me payback for that Norwich answer.
They're going to be missing players, Oaks.
I say 2-1 Liverpool.
I think it will be a 3-1 win for Liverpool.
2-1 Liverpool.
Liverpool are going to score.
Yeah, I'm going to say 3-1. 3-1 Liverpool. Yeah. That's where I'm at. Right? And gentlemen...
Take it, Sam.
We love this prediction, Sam.
I love it, Sam.
Push, boy.
Sam's playing games. Sam is playing games. Yo.
Oh, man.
Yo. Okay. Gentlemen, that pretty much wraps up the show for this evening. Final thoughts. What do you want to end off with? Leave the viewers with something to think about for this weekend.
Tune in 4 o'clock tomorrow. Tuks versus University of Free State on SuperSport. I think it's 205 or 204, somewhere around there.
Okay. Dope. We'll do.
All the best. And also, the best to Coach Nick.
Thanks,
man. Good luck there out there, Nick.
Yeah, good luck,
boys.
Bro. Thanks, guys. Thanks, man. You mean so much to me.
You said also. What else? What else were you saying?
Watch out for Lukaku brace.
Hey.
Those 2 goals are coming from Lukaku, gentlemen.
Just remember, did we decide on what Mosso is doing after he lets his project of the season? I mean, we said Lukaku tattoo. We did say that. But he's not going to get it.
No. There's no chance I'm getting a tattoo for Lukaku.
Let's get maybe a haircut with an L in it or something.
But the man doesn't have hair. It's going to last like 2 days.
Fine, I'll grow my hair.
Yeah,
bro, there's no hair there, bro.
No, he was bleach.
I still don't think he's gonna get 20 goals.
Bleach the beard.
And it's got to stay on. It's got to stay on for longer than a week. It's going to be on for longer than a week. Yeah, I like that one.
It must stay on for the amount of goals that Lukaku scores in the league.
So 20. If he scores 19 goals, I don't get it. If he scores 20 goals, it's for 20 days.
20 days, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. That's a good one.
Wait. As soon as he hits the 20th, is that what it is? Or do we wait until the end of the season? And we'll say if he hits 35.
But if he does 20 like in 25 games, then he has to do it from that
day.
Do it from that day.
Because you'll be continuing, and then you have to keep it on.
How about this? How about this? From the day that he hits the 20th, you've got to keep it on until the end of the season.
That's fine. You won't get to it, man. Watch me. You watch me.
You said that's fine. You all heard that.
Deal.
Okay, sure.
We are done, man. That's a good deal.
Gentlemen, I'm going to count down to 3. You know how to end the show. You ready? 3, 2, 1.
Stop it.
Goodbye.
Stop it.
Stop it.